Moving on with Deming's 15 points. Point number 8, drive out fear. Now, you guys have covered this little section in a previous class, but I want to put it out there. Maybe you forgot, you need a refresher. And maybe I'll add to it a little bit. Drive out fear. If we have employees in a state of fear, they can't concentrate. And we're supposed to be going after the new philosophy, which is constancy of purpose, which is employee involvement, customer involvement, and continuous improvement. Now, if you have employees in a state of fear, they can't concentrate. Can you concentrate while you're in a state of fear? Some people can pick up a car when they're in a state of fear and stuff like that. But really, can you concentrate? Are you focused on quality? Are you focused on improvements if you're in a state of fear? Now, I'm remembering back to the phrase fight or flight. If you're in a state of fear, you have, can we say we have two basic solutions? Either you get out of the situation or you become angry and maybe you fight. None of those two options aren't part of quality. They're not part of constancy of purpose. So we have to drive out fear. If everybody wants to leave your organization, what's the point of doing anything? If everybody's mad, if everybody's pissed off, are we going to get quality achieved? Are we going to achieve quality? So, been thinking about this for a while, and if you just read drive out fear, oh, well, just drive out fear. No, there's a lot to fear in the workplace. And last semester, it occurred to me after reading a book that one of the fears is fundamental to most anybody in the workplace, unless they can just write their own ticket and go to any company they want to. It's the baseline fear. That's my name for it. Fear of losing their job, shame, and not being able to provide for their families. So even it's a baseline fear. There might be 3% of the population that would never be in fear of losing their job. Once you lose your job, there's going to be a paycheck thing, and how did we get into this job situation to begin with? But fear of losing your job, the shame of being fired, the shame of being asked to leave, the shame of not being able to pay your bills and put food on the table. So we had that baseline fear that would be a part of anybody. Now, Deming says drive out fear. Did he say drive out baseline fear? I don't think so, but maybe he should have. We need security. We see that with the other gurus. They say offer job security and get people to forget about all of that baseline fear and get things done. So for the new people to the new philosophy and quality, we have a lot of factors that create fear in people. So the lack of training. We just talked about training, and generally people want to be good at what they're doing. They don't want to be in an ambiguous situation and not knowing what to do. I have been there, and that feeling of not being adequate, we don't want that. We want people to be fully trained as much as we can, continuously training. Change. People hate change unless it's winning the lottery, but even that can be scary too because that causes problems. We need to get people comfortable with change because in the new philosophy, with the constancy of purpose, continuous improvement is supposed to be going on most all of the time. When you have continuous improvement, there is change. So we need employees that are fearless and comfortable with reasonable change. Surprise change, that's the worst. You walk in and boom, everything's changed. Maybe the computer system changed and boom. Or we have a new policy, something like that. People don't like that. The good manager, the one that understands the philosophy, does not surprise people with changes. And they build employees who expect change and good change. Now, we also have the fear of failure, just in general. That would, making a mistake even though you're trained. Lack of communication. If you've ever been in this situation, it is very scary. It goes towards alienation, where you don't hear anything. There is no leadership. You're left alone. You're wondering. You see things happen, but you haven't heard from anything official from somebody, and that is scary, because when there's no communication, are you out of the loop? Are you about to be asked to go? You don't matter anymore. Also, two-way communication, not being able to speak up, being in fear of speaking up, being in fear of saying something is going wrong, we need to fix it. And that would lead to just hiding things or leaving them to just burn. We talked about this too. Quotas, goals, targets, too much to do. All of this can lead to fear. Instead of saying you have to do 100, we hope maybe you can do 100. But if there's a threat behind that, then there's fear. I'm not going to meet my quota. I'm not going to meet my sales commission goal. And really, all of these targets, and we're going to get into that later, but they're not focused on quality. This doesn't say quality, it says quantity. Internal competition. A lot of companies love the internal competition. In fact, that charlatan consultant might even suggest, hey, have internal competition. That's not team spirit, that's not quality, that's fighting amongst the employees. And it's probably based on some kind of quantity, not quality. So we don't want that. We want team spirit. No relationships with management. People, I think, according to Maslow as well, put out the notion that people want to love their boss. They want to communicate with their boss. And if they don't, that causes fear. You feel like that person that doesn't matter. This is not the white room, folks. We're trying to get into the white room. We want people to be trained and confident, unafraid of change, because any change that comes around is going to be good change, and for the better of all. We don't want people afraid to fail, no communication, all of this. No, that's not the white room. We want to move into the white room. So, other little topics on fear are poor quality. If our quality is poor, then it goes back to the baseline fear that we might go out of business. That no team feeling, here again, we're not a team. We're, not talking to each other. There's jealousy, maybe even favoritism going on. We don't want that. That's not the white room. This is all bad. Alienation, feeling of not being included. Would you want your kid to feel that way? No. Well, why do managers want their employees to feel that way? Spiritual crimes. Going back to everybody is replaceable, spiritual crimes, where we break the spirits of people. We do things to make them feel bad about themselves. We do things purposefully to lower their self-esteem. We do things purposefully to put them in their place, crush their ego, embarrass them a little bit. That's not the white room, folks, but it's in the workplace every day. Bullies. The assholes have to go. That goes back to management training. Training of managers in the new philosophy, moving from management to leaders. Chaos and confusion. Who wouldn't be afraid in a situation where there's chaos, unexpected things happening all the time? Nobody understands what's going on. The system's changed and now everybody's confused. That's not going to work. And going back to also baseline fear is management on a whim. This is very scary when you don't have any faith in the manager or so-called leader, and it seems like every day there's a new fad, a new little change, a strategic boom here, strategic move here. Everybody's confused. So it all attaches back to fear, and fear is not going to get the job done. We're supposed to be in a state of constancy of purpose. But management by fear is so popular. Then you have to ask yourself, why are we all so damn stupid? Are we being ruined by our best efforts? Does experience count for a manager? No. In fact, the experience might be the worse. We want a manager who tries to get people into the white room, not keep them in the dark. If you practice this, you have to ask yourself, or if a manager practices this, you have to ask yourself, do they care about long-term profits? Do they care about long-term profits? They are actually traitors to their own organization. They are ruining the organization with their best efforts, and they don't care about long-term profits. If they cared about long-term profits, they would remove the fear and put everybody in the white room. So, constancy of purpose does not include fear. Why are we all so damn stupid?